Let's talk about the Mr. Beast situation. Now, there has been a number of situations recently where it came to allegations and admissions of big YouTubers and streamers speaking to underage people, underage girls and underage boys. One of the big ones being Dr. Disrespect, who I've not got anything on the links, but he essentially, I think it turned out, was speaking to a 17-year-old girl online where he'd been exchanging inappropriate jokes and messages with her, and he has admitted it, and there's been a big outcry to that, and lots of other streamers and YouTubers have completely condemned him. And of course, if you are speaking to underage minors inappropriately, you should be condemned. It's not that difficult, especially if you're a married man with children.
Yeah, he's an older man as well, which adds another weirdness to the dimension.
Yes, it's not that difficult not to speak to people who are underage. I don't know why so many YouTubers find this to be such trouble, but it has come to the most important person on YouTube, you could say, because he is the most subscribed to. He is the #1 YouTuber who has a very positive image that he projects to the world. That being Mr. Beast and his entourage. And it's important that we say this because I've spoken about Mr. Beast before. There was that video that people were freaking out about earlier on this year where he supposedly went to Africa and built wells and bridges for people. So I wanted to address this and say that if all of the allegations are true and more allegations come out regarding Mr. Beast, because it does seem that he might be directly involved in some of this, at least some people are implying that, then of course that's horrible. That's horrible, and whatever he has done on YouTube does not at all make up for awful things that he's been doing in his private life. And of course, we also did a video recently on Lads Hour, which is a subscribers-only show that you should subscribe to the podcast for.
Only for our most prestige subscribers.
Exactly. We did a series, a quick video on rejected YouTube ideas where we came up with the alternate evil Mr. Beast called Mr. Yeast. That was Rory's idea for Mr. Yeast for some reason. And perhaps Mr. Yeast is not actually that far from the real person. But what I've noticed is that there has been some recent reporting on this by places like Sky News that seem to be trying to reframe the issue, not around the allegations that are mainly focused on one of his old friends, who now, a transvestite who now goes by the name Ava Chris Tyson, formerly just known as Chris Tyson.
Who was married with kids before, by the way.
Yes. They're trying to reframe it to Mr. Beast back in 2017, making some edgy jokes and making inappropriate comments. I've seen some of the clips. I don't even hear him drop a slur, personally. Maybe I've not seen those particular clips, but it seems to be his chat goading to make him say that sort of stuff. So I wouldn't say that this is entirely fair, but also it's clearly an opportunity to try and say, oh, no, ignore the transvestite sending inappropriate messages to teenagers and look at Mr. Beast maybe saying the N-word. That's what you want to concern yourself with. Transvestites never do anything wrong. But anyway, so for a lot of the context, you can go to... I went to videos like this, which was a big one that came out last year. I've got no mouse. Do you mind scrolling down for me, Samson? So
I have no mouse and I must scream.
Yeah, this came... Oh, you've got... a holy mouse for
I gift ye a mouse.
Thank ye very much, oh kind sir. So yeah, we got this video last year from Sunny V2, which was originally called, I think it was Chris Tyson is going to become a nightmare for Mr. Beast, and it got a lot of pushback because people were saying this is transphobic, this is terrible, but it was giving the story of what was happening at the time because it was a big thing, and now he's changed it to how will the Chris Tyson situation impact Mr. Beast. To summarize some of the info from here, so he started posting on social media, this Chris Tyson bloke, pictures where he's painting his nails. It came out that he'd left his wife. He made a big statement. Immediately tuned out after the separation. While he was in the process of transitioning, they were all invited to the Kids' Choice Awards, which is an appropriate event for a transvestite, of course. He was complaining on social media about access to hormonal replacement therapy and treatments, because, of course, one of the things you've got to make sure is that it needs to be right now. If I want something right now, if children want this, it needs to be right now. And he was complaining that people think he's not safe around kids anymore. And one thing that was pointed out in this was that the streams immediately became a little bit more awkward than they'd been before, although there could have been a number of reasons for that. And a lot of people were critical of this, but a lot of people were critical of the situation as well, because, dude, you left your wife and kids so that you could prance about in dresses. This led to a statement from Mr. Beast last year, April 13th. Yeah, this is getting absurd. Chris isn't my nightmare. He's my effing friend and things are fine. All this transphobia is starting to piss me off. This was in response to somebody posting this. So yeah, there was quite a few people doing the Simpsons meme of saying that he's not your nightmare yet. And that was rather prophetic because despite all of the controversy surrounding the Sunny V2 video, turns out in the end, he won. And to summarize some of the information from this video, the satisfying downfall of Chris Tyson, which came out from the Internet Anarchist. So summarize the situation. So what happens? Chris got into an argument with some rando on Twitter and decided as part of this to dox his old Reddit account. And the claim that was made was that you recently got addicted to pornography, it's warped your mind, and you've started wearing dresses to satisfy your strange fetish and perversion. And he was like, haha, actually, I was always a pervert, and showed a picture of himself from his old Reddit account from 2015 or something, where he was in a dress. People then went, hold up, so you've got an old Reddit account that we weren't aware of. Let's look into this. They look at the old account archives and find him making weird comments about watching lolly pornography, commenting about it under pictures of teenagers. And they found old screenshots of his old tweets where he's also being strange around teenagers. They also find a lot of support for a particular artist called Shadman. Do you know who this is?
No.
He's kind of one of those dark side of the internet people that you don't want to be aware of. Sadly, I was aware of him, and now I'm going to enlighten you and our audience as well. So, first of all, I want to make it clear, this man was always said to be Swiss, a Swiss internet artist, but I only recently learned in researching this, his real name is Shaddai Prajin, and his face has been doxed, and he's clearly Indian.
What, with a name like that? No way.
I know. So this is a man who draws artwork, not safe for work, pornographic artwork, and he has literally drawn pornographic artwork of real children, including Keemstar's like 10 to 12-year-old daughter, and lots of really messed up stuff. Chris, it turns out, was a big fan. Not only was he supporting this guy for a long time, he also actually owns a print of a Shadman artwork of an underage anime character doing terrible things. Not only does he own that, he owned it and had it as the centerpiece on the wall in his living room, and you can see pictures of it in an old Mr. Beast video when they were all hanging out at Chris's house. So that's pretty messed up.
Dear
Mr.
Lord.
Beast also interacted with a Shadman tweet back in 2018. So this is the guy who is at the top of the family-friendly, kids-friendly, biggest YouTube channel on the platform. People were starting to come out with proof of having spoken to him when they were about 14 years old, when he was in his 20s. A Twitter account, GNN, posted a video of inside Chris's Discord, which will show some of the stuff that came from the Discord, where he's on a voice chat speaking about sexual topics with at least one known minor on there. Very strange. And then there was a guy called Lava who was involved in all of this, who won a competition and won a CSGO knife from the Mr. Beast platform. And he got in touch with Chris and the team to get it all sorted. And through discussions with them, he ended up becoming a chat mod for their Discord and was featured in a gaming video. All of this started when he was about 13 years old.
Dear Lord, that's weird.
Lava ended up exchanging Snapchats with Chris and lots of inappropriate jokes about sending nudes, mainly coming from Chris. The guy who released the video that exposed all of this did go about it all in a very sleazy way. He was he was lying that he was doing it for a job interview to get a lot of this information from Lava, who is 20 years old now. Which has led to a lot of criticism and some people trying to discredit it, but a lot has come out since then, which we'll go over. So here you go. So this person, after all this came out, this guy called Nathan W. came out and said that he had been explicitly groomed by Chris when he was a teenager and had been working for Mr. Beast for a short amount of time. He's claiming that Lava, who has come out since then and said, no, I wasn't groomed, it was all jokes, it was nothing. He's saying that Lava was probably paid and is also, because he was working for Mr. Beast contractually, has probably signed an NDA, meaning that he can't say anything. These are all allegations, I want to say.
Mr. Beast does make people sign NDAs. We know that much, at least. So that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, and a lot of people are also making the allegations that Mr. Beast knew and is probably involved with some other dodgy stuff.
So far, it's absolutely vile. I'm finding it difficult to listen to.
Yeah, this is what's been going on. This has been going on for weeks now. All of these allegations coming out since around last month. So I'm doing my best to try and summarize it all.
Brother, yeah,
that's appropriate. So he released all of the Discord leaks that were available to him, which was over 500,000 messages on this GitHub link. Now you have to download it as zip files, but thankfully he's posted some stuff on here. And a lot of people have gone through all of the leaks themselves and found some of the most damning stuff. So you can see here some stuff where Chris the Meme God is Ava Chris Tyson.
Of course, yeah.
Talking about how he has a not safe for work bot on this Discord, talking about gay stuff. I believe in a free not safe for work channel. If people want to catch the gay, that's fine by me. Bear in mind that this is a chat which has 13 and 14-year-olds in it as well. Making inappropriate jokes, saying things like he was putting his nudes in this Discord channel, all sorts of really weird stuff. And also, this is what was available to excuse me, Nathan, because Lava and others had cleansed the Discord when it went public around middle of 2019 as well. So there was probably a lot worse stuff on there that we just don't have access to anymore. So here's somebody who here's the worst of the Chris Tyson leaks. So this person went through as much of the 500,000 leaked messages as possible and found some of the weird stuff. So here's Chris just sharing Shadman's website. Again, this is a disgusting Indian man who draws pornographic pictures of actual children, who Chris has had printed artwork of displayed in his home.
Is there any sort of criminal action being leveled at him? Surely this can't be legal to do, right?
I don't know. There's also Mr. Beast himself appeared to have been in this Discord and commented, again, very inappropriate with loads of children around, talking about the size of Chris's penis. Very strange. Lava himself, who, again, is 20 now, so if this is 5 years ago, was at least a teenager, making inappropriate jokes again. It's, once again, whether or not he was actually grooming these kids or actually sharing pictures of himself with these children, whether or not it was all jokes, this is obviously incredibly inappropriate, and incredibly inappropriate that the Mr. Beast website, which is child-friendly and targeted at children, explicitly so, according to a lot of stuff that's come out, they use basically advanced psychological techniques to try and win children onto the website and onto the channel.
Basically, they use the notion that by engaging and dealing with Mr. Beast, by either subscribing or buying his merch or joining his website or going into Discord or whatever it is he's doing, he tries to associate that with positive reinforcement. He's using behavioral conditioning to say, more or less, you know how much money I have, right? Well, every time you do something I like, I give you money or prizes, or you have a chance to win. And I've got so much money that your chance is pretty good. I mean, it's better than most other prize draws, so do it. And, you know, it's the same with his chocolate, where it's just, as one of the videos said,
this is all spoken about in this video. I work for Mr. Beast, he's a fraud, where the creator of this video talks about the psychological techniques that they use, about the sorts of ways that they use the chocolate company and the burger company basically as a way to promote what could be possibly considered to be illegal gambling activities. Which is very, very interesting. I'd recommend watching this video for a full breakdown. At the beginning of this video, he says that he was actually going to speak about all of the dodgy Chris stuff in a part 2 or part 3, and it was actually as he was producing this video that all of that came out. But he explicitly says that Mr. Beast knows and that it's only the tip of the iceberg of everything. Because again, when you're engaging in those kinds of practices to try and create a buy-in for an audience almost entirely made of children. And then there's a chance that those children might end up in a Discord with you because you're very open to that stuff, where they all get exposed to, like 13-year-olds getting exposed to this, getting exposed to literally a website of, let's be honest, drawn child pornography. This is not appropriate. This is awful, and this should be condemned utterly. And there was also this that came out at the same time, which was another transvestite coming out with this massive allegation of sexual assault from Chris that happened between 2022, 2023. I read through the whole thing. Honestly, I don't believe that this would qualify as sexual assault, but definitely strange and coercive, dishonest behavior, where it's one of those ones where they invoke power dynamics and say, I was lied to consistently about the ability of Chris to get me a job working for Mr. Beast. He had me over for an interview. I ended up staying at his house, engaged in sexual activities that weren't reciprocated, felt that there was a coercive pressure for me to keep this up so that I could get a job, and the job never went. The job never ended up materializing. So it's not explicit sexual assault, though it doesn't sound like he actually forced himself.
Still what Harvey Weinstein did.
Yeah, well, that's true. It's still very scummy. Very, very scummy behavior. And since all of this has come out, there have been a few denials. First, Chris said, here's my denial statement. I would like to apologize for any of my past behavior. If it hurt or offended anyone, it wasn't my intent. I want to add, I never groomed anybody. Person who gets brought up in these accusations, Lava, has vocally supported that they are false. Nathan contests this and says that it's because he's either been paid off or because of the NDA. And he does say, and a few other people have said, that Lava definitely was. But again, these are allegations and hearsay to a particular extent. Lava, again, here you go, saying, these are lies and twisting the truth. But then all of the Discord leaks dropped, and he came out with this statement. Okay, maybe it was bad. Maybe it was really bad that all of these teenagers...
They were implicated all of a sudden, right?
Yeah, after reading the chat logs, that stuff was inappropriate and wrong. I spoke both to memory of the situation. I still do not remember these conversations, but they definitely happened. Conversations should not have happened with people at the age I was at the time. Strongly condemn them. Still believe I'm not a grooming victim, but these conversations should not have happened with me and any other minor in this Discord. And then he clarifies, saying that, this is only regarding the Discord. He definitely didn't groom me. And then he goes on to say this next statement. Whilst not nearly as damning as everyone thought they would be, there's a few individuals, one named Milk, who needs to be looked into. All of these people need to be looked into. But this is an incredible statement right here. At one point, I was an edgy teenage Gmod kid and said some weird S to be jokes. I also had some very, very right-leaning views. Okay. So what he's trying to say there is, it was nothing bad. It was just edgy jokes, and I only made those edgy jokes about being non-ston and sending nudes to an older man when I was a teenager because I was right-wing? Question mark?
Sense. In fact,
these things don't line up at all.
It's normally the opposite, isn't it? Isn't it normally the right wing that is the most virulently against this sort of thing?
Who knows? Who knows? And then Mr. Beast himself has made an obligatory statement saying that I can't believe all of this behavior has been going online. I totally didn't know about any of it. He's left the company now, and we'll be doing a comprehensive investigation with a third party so that we can find out what the truth is to these. So that's the Mr. Beast situation as it exists right now. By the sounds of it, more allegations might come out in the future, so we'll keep you posted if anything interesting comes up. Obviously, to say everything involved in this is completely disgusting and heinous, and if there is more involvement and it goes even beyond what we've already seen, which is already enough to condemn these people, then it's vile and disgusting.
I hope you appreciated that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, and if you want to see what else we're up to, you can watch Dan's series, Brokenomics, where he interviews former Conservative MP Marcus Fish about what he believes led to the Conservative Party's defeat and his frustrations with the party. And if you want to see what else we're putting out, we share links to everything on our Twitter account so you don't get to miss anything. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.